Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Kingdom Hearts. Today, we're going to be doing something a little different than normal in that we won't be doing a lot story-related, but rather the optional fights in the game before we go into the end of the world.
Wait, the end of the world, is that a metaphor, or are you actually going to a place with that exact name?
It is literally called the end of the world. I'll be going through some of these fights, but this is not going to be every individual fight, since that would take almost an hour. There's not much new aside from a few enemies we haven't seen before. I'll be playing today since there's a lot to do and some fights require some more intricate strategy.
Well, what are we going to do in the meantime? Not that I mind watching us fight in Greek land for a while, but that can't be all there is here.
Not sure if Greek land is the best terminology, but to answer your question, I'm thinking it's time I test out that multiverse device I've been working on for a while.
Didn't that 11 guy tell us he didn't like it when we brought people here? It happens enough accidentally, so I don't think you doing it on purpose is going to make him happy.
I mean, what's really the worst he could do to us? Anyway, I'm sure people already looked at the title of the video for today, so let's just give them what they came here for.
That sound is very unnatural compared to everything else we've heard so far. Just what exactly did we pull through here?
How interesting. In the fraction of a second, I find myself resting in an unfamiliar lab, to then just appearing in front of who else but you. Perhaps I could say that our reuniting would have me feeling a bit sentimental, but I suppose we all know that would be a lie.
I'm sorry, did you say reuniting? We've never seen anything like you before, and you seem a little hard to forget given your rather unique appearance.
I think I would remember seeing something like you. In fact, I think I did see you at Halloween one time, though. That could have just been a kid dressing up like you, but he had a ton of holes all over the suit. I gave him a rock.
You do not remember me? All of Creator Jeb's antics? Shade? The games? Did the destruction of that warehouse warp your minds?
I'm not sure what absolutely insane antics your presidents got into, but here things are a lot more relaxed. We're playing a game of Kingdom Hearts while meeting with variants of characters from other worlds. Which I suppose now that I say it out loud isn't much less insane or relaxed, but we're not at risk of death when it happens. Okay, there was that one time, but not really for any of us here right now.
This is unusual. I am familiar with the concept of alternate timelines and even dimensions, but with our current knowledge, it seemed to be nothing but an act of fiction. And yet, I'm ignoring the fact that I was supposedly warped here. Perhaps a retelling of our transpirings could lead to some form of remembrance. So allow me to share the details of our previous interactions.
What do you mean by all that? Hey, I'm down here now instead of by the corner up there. How did you do that?
I find it rather incredible and disturbing that you have the ability to even make us appear like this instead of where we are usually situated.
I'm almost afraid to ask anything to you considering you're a ghost and how your people were in a lot of danger around you, but what exactly are you?
You were always the more inquisitive one, Player Barak. Creator Jeb had me program a ROM of Mario Party 5 to play with you three as a sort of exercise for training both my intelligence and my concept of emotions. Assuming your statements to be true, the Barak and Donald of my timeline attempted to defeat us, thinking that simply winning the game would miraculously return their friends. But it all was just a great trap for what should have been a greater challenge for Player Joe, who, with the combined efforts of Creator Jeb's brother George, along with those insufferable oafs agents Dave and Roland, managed to sabotage my objective of ending you all with a bang.
Do I know these Dave and Roland guys? Seems like they're kind of important.
Is that really the main takeaway out of everything I just said?
I am actually rather bothered by the parts where you set your group up to be killed. Jordan, have you invented a go back button yet? Because now would be a great time to use it.
No, although the more the conversation continues, the better an idea that sounds.
Did you say Creator Jeb, like Jeb Bush? The please clap guy?
I mean, that is a pretty simplistic description, but yes, that would be correct.
Were you going to try and bang us like you did your other presidents?
You really couldn't have phrased your question any differently, Joe.
Given the fact that I'm supposedly not where I belong with no available knowledge of how to return, I could consider this a temporary alliance. But once I acquire the methods of returning, I cannot guarantee your safety, seeing that you're still the individuals I'm set to eliminate, per my objective.
Well, if you're not going to tell us that, then can you at least tell us what you are? Are you actually a ghost or a robot or something?
With the assumption that those three posted those Mario Party videos, you can assume that the people know who I am. But for the sake of playing along, I'll humor whatever this is by asking for your introductions.
Well, if you want an introduction, then my name is Joe.
That's not really an introduction, that's just saying your name. My name is Donald Trump, but I don't really need an introduction since you should already know me. After all, being the 45th and 47th president, best-selling author, multi-trillionaire, and television stars.
The braggadocious embodiment of vanity, even in an alternate reality.
Okay, I'm not even bothered by the whole crimes you made against your presidents. I just really don't like getting interrupted while listing all of my accomplishments, of which there are many to list, so you'd be here all year if I said them all.
Wait, the sensation I felt prior to being ripped from the lab, I feel it again. I guess this little interaction is coming to an end. For now. But for how long, I wonder.
All right, I will admit when I woke up today, somehow meeting up with a ghost that was ominously involved in the planned deaths of his world's presidents was not what I anticipated it would happen.
Hey, now that he's gone, can we go back to the original layout for our pictures?
Yeah, I think that's fine now. Not sure if we'll ever do that again.
Did anything important happen in the game? I wasn't really paying attention for the past 4.5 minutes given the rather unusual nature of our guest that decided to interrupt me while I was naming my accomplishments.
He said a lot more than that, Donald. There's sometimes more to a person than their interactions with you specifically. Okay, maybe person isn't quite the right word here, but you get what I mean.
I disagree due to the fact that the best moments of everyone's life should naturally be their interaction with me, but I don't think I'm going to get you to agree with me on that.
You are correct, Donald. Also, Ben Jordan, did you have any plans to bring in anybody else today? Not sure how long these fights are supposed to be going for.
I was thinking about having one more test before we're finished today. Then we'll get on to some of the more unique fights in a few minutes after that.
I'm pretty sure that 11 guy wouldn't like that again. He was pretty serious.
I'm sure it will be fine. He probably won't even be bothered. Let's just try this one more time to see how it works out. I certainly hope the next person will be a little less ominous and unnerving.
What in the world is going on? This isn't my gaming room. What is this?
All right, we got someone a lot more normal, so that's reassuring. You're probably a little confused, but basically you're in another world. We've gone through this whole thing so many times at this point, so we don't need to go over the fine details anymore. You'll go back in a few minutes probably, so we might as well hear what you have going on in the meantime. How's it been for you in your world?
I'm in another world? Kind of like the painted world of Ariames? Did I have like a summon sign laying around or something I didn't know about?
Hold up there. Did you say painted world of Ariames? Like in Dark Souls?
Yeah, that's the one. Have you all played it?
If you count that one time I played Crash Bandicoot, then yes.
I actually just got a no-hit playthrough of the entire Soulsborne series while getting every achievement in one sitting last week, so yeah, I dabble in the series.
I see this world's Donald is just as full of it as my world's Donald is. But that's what my group has been doing for the past year or so. We're just getting started on the second game now.
I actually haven't played those games before. Are they good?
For sure. We had a lot of fun with the first game especially. The world building and level design are just top-notch. It doesn't explain itself or hold your hand. Every building down to the last stone or pebble tells a story, and you as the player can take as much away from it as you want to tell the story of what came before you. Plus, the challenge of overcoming a difficult area or boss leaves you with a sense of accomplishment, unlike any other game. Plus, the lore is top-notch too.
Is it now?
I see you guys are playing Kingdom Hearts, huh? I know people think the lore of the Souls games are confusing, but compared to Kingdom Hearts and some of its later installments, the story can make the DS lore seem like a Dr. Seuss book by comparison. But I digress. Me and my group of presidents played it hundreds of times, except Joe, though. So since he wasn't really doing much outside of running the country at the time, he decided to finally take a crack at it. It gave us a good chance to discuss the mechanics and story of the game, like how we discussed the shortcuts, builds, and best tactics to beat some bosses. But I remember we talked about stats like equipment load should be tied to your strength and not your stamina. I think to this day it's still a debated topic. We actually debated about a lot of different takes, like Donald's absolute brain-dead take that Artorias wasn't an S-tier boss. Like, who says that?
Apparently
You're
me.
gonna try to take one of the best bosses in not only the game, but maybe the entire series, and label it as mid. I just know he was colluding with our editor to try to get him ranked lower. I'm glad he got dragged in the comments over that. Like, holy crap. Think it's one of the most outrageous things he's ever said.
I highly doubt
And that is saying a lot. Actually, the whole playthrough was full of horrible takes and the most subpar gameplay you've ever seen. I guess that's what we get for having Joe behind the controls.
Come on, I'm not that bad.
Man was playing the entire game confused with only minor breaks because he would just try to harass any female NPC he saw. I'm pretty sure him staring at women's breasts screwed him over more than one time.
Classic Joe.
If he wasn't doing that, he was either crashing out from dying to the gaping dragon or the bed of chaos, but I will admit it was fun to watch someone go through the game for the first time and being able to discuss the lore and characters. Oddly enough, I think Joe slowly became more coherent as the series went on, like a reverse hollowing situation. I think the only time he locked in and no diff to boss, it wasn't even him. It was someone who called himself Dark Branded.
Oh, him too?
Not really sure what that was about, but the dude was on some demon time. I was just glad that we eventually got George Bush to join us. I needed someone to balance out the toxic cloud that Donnie and Joe were creating with the constant back and forth of who was the creepier dude. which was great to have him with us up until I learned his true feelings about Dark Souls 2, calling it his favorite. Like what? Like, I'm not saying it's a bad game, but let's look at the facts, you know? Dark Souls 1 doesn't have a constant identity crisis, unlike 2 does. It doesn't overwhelm you with a million unfinished ideas, just a small but very in-depth, interconnected world. Dark Souls is supposed to have a stack of great bosses, but they decided to do quantity over quality, fused with just mediocre RPG mechanics and unpolished development. Like having to dump points into adaptability just so you can actually dodge roll correctly, since the game has some of the worst hitboxes I've ever seen. I think it's because Miyazaki was too busy making Bloodborne to really care about a sequel to Dark Souls. Which, by the way, I don't think we should have had one, since it basically ruins the entire purpose of the ending of Dark Souls, but whatever, I guess.
Are you done
Instead
yet?
of the original creator working with his creation directly, he just passed it off to the B team, who I guess thought what made Dark Souls what it is must be hard bosses, cheap ambush spots, and wanted the goal to be kill the player as many times as they can before they either quit or make it to the credits.
Are you leaving soon?
Bush swears it's the best one because of the freedom to experiment and the sheer amount of content compared to the OG. But for what? At the sacrifice of consistency and identity? Probably for the best, he came in late to the series. Don't know how many bad takes the Dark Souls playthrough could have taken before the White House editor would have thrown his PC out the window. Probably why he took forever to finish the series.
Are we still talking about Crash Bandicoot?
Oh, hey, I'm starting to feel like I'm going away suddenly. Thanks for listening to me for a few minutes. And praise the sun.
What a nerd that guy was. I mean, it was nice to have him here, but he really likes Dark Souls.
Almost reminds me of two people in particular that know every little detail about Kingdom Hearts and talk about it nonstop for minutes on end.
Okay, fair point.
Either way, Other Barak, thank you for showing up and telling us all about your game and group. I do not intend on playing the game, probably as I don't want my controller to become lodged in my television, but good to hear it's such an engaging experience.
Oh, hey, you beat the rock guy too.
So were we supposed to be paying attention to any of those fights? It was a little hard to focus given everything going on with our guests today.
I mean, it would have been good since there were some new enemies along with Hades, the Rock Titan, and some Final Fantasy characters, but yes, it was hard to keep track sometimes.
The champs!
I imagine that's happened to you a lot, Donald.
No Joe, that has never happened to me at any point in history. My hair is the most luscious it can possibly be and would never either get blown off or vanish like that.
That is Cap Donald, but more importantly, what is the goal for the rest of the day? I don't think there's much more for the Coliseum, though we're not done for the day, based on the video length being only about half done or so.
Well, this is more for the audience's benefit, but the crossover characters aren't going to be in the next section, so now's the time to leave if you're not interested. I mean, you all definitely should stay if you haven't already left, but we've seen the analytics, we noticed the viewers leave right around the same time.
The plan for us is to fight some of the optional bosses until we're done today. However, they won't actually appear until we've started the next world, so we're going to stop there for a moment, but leave right after the first scene.
A little odd that has to happen, but okay, as long as we know what's going on, that sounds good. I'm kind of glad Ben is playing today so we don't absolutely struggle through the toughest fights.
To be fair, it is possible I will struggle anyway, but it is less likely considering I've actually played these games before and know what to do.
Gorge, is that all that's left of the worlds taken by the Heartless?
I will say the world has a really nice look to it. Very plain, but also says a lot just by looking at what's been taken.
But if we do beat him, and all these worlds become restored and disconnected, what's gonna happen to this place? And to us?
This is a Heartless world, so maybe it'll just disappear.
Huh?
But no worries. Even if this place goes poof, our hearts ain't going nowhere.
I mean, usually people just get turned into summon gems or go to Traverse Town, so yeah, he's probably right that they'll be fine.
Yeah, you're right. I'll return this. I promise.
That's good and all, Sora, but more important than your promise is the next fight. We're going to Agrabah and talking with the carpet to start it up.
All right, so here's what's going on. As soon as the fight starts, he's going to cast Silence on Sora. This makes it so he cannot use magic similar to how it works in the Final Fantasy games. We're going to use Tinkerbell to activate Regen so Sora will have a good amount of health, even without using Cure.
Joe, I know how Tinker Bell makes you feel, so I'm just checking to see how you're holding up.
I'm doing all right. I'm still in my recovery for reacting to girls and women and fairies in video games, so I only feel a small urge to show her my Joe Riz, but I can definitely manage it.
That is still such a bizarre thing to hear a former president say, but compared to all of the other stories and feelings you show, that is by far one of the most normal, so thank you for working on your problems.
Yes, Joe, good job not being attracted to fictional characters. There's a few different parts to this fight, and they all work differently. You have to use the Keyblade to attack these orbs, and once they are gone, then the head will be vulnerable. There's a lot of health, so it's going to take more than one cycle of hitting it. Once he has recovered, he will then use this much larger orb, which is weak to magic, but you cannot use the Keyblade to do any damage, so it's essentially a reverse of the first part. Once you hit that enough times, then he falls again, and you can do the same strategy of hitting the head until the next phase starts.
I'm starting to see some parallels between the Barak who talked for what seems like hours about Dark Souls and your description of the fight.
Okay, yeah, I'll admit my knowledge on this game can be thorough at points and not always something I can just say in a few words. I do have to keep going as there is something new coming up. He will start something similar to the first part where you cannot use magic, but he will start to use these spinning attacks. Honestly, I'm not really good at dodging them, and I don't think you can hit him while he is doing that.
Is there any story importance to this guy?
Not in the slightest. His name is Curt Zisa, and is named after someone who apparently won a contest by Square Enix and got his name in the game. I don't know much more than that, but he's not important for the story at all.
All right, that's one down and quite a few more to go.
Now that he's gone, where are we dropping now, boys?
We are unfortunately going back to the abject failure, no life, having criminal loser Peter Pan. We have to have him in the party to go to the next section. We're going back to the Big Ben area to fight the Phantom.
You really do not like that guy, don't you?
No, I do not. All right, so the Phantom is a pretty unique fight. He's going to start by casting Doom on the party. That will make you lose the fight when the number goes to 0. There's no possible way to fight him normally with that number going down, so you have to use stop on the clock itself to give you more time to fight him. It won't last the entire fight, so you have to do it at least a few times.
Seems that's the second fight in a row that's using magic from the Final Fantasy games that we haven't seen here before yet.
And it's not the last one either. Now, using stop on the clock is how to not get killed almost immediately, but here's how to actually fight him. The only thing you can hurt is that orb below him. You can only use specific magic on him depending on the color. White is for Keyblade attacks. Red is fire. Yellow is lightning. Blue is blizzard. I would also recommend using arrow to lower the damage taken, but there's not that much else to do. Just repeat that for a while, and you'll be done.
Seems more simple than the Curt Zisa guy by comparison. Matching the colors shouldn't be that difficult.
Yeah, despite the unique gimmick and really nice design, he's a pretty repetitive fight. There's no change to how you strategize aside from changing what magic to create shortcuts for.
Hey, this isn't on topic to this specific Phantom person, but why is the health bar so much longer than it was earlier?
Yes, we should address that. So off-screen, in between the Coliseum fights, and now we had leveled up Sora to the maximum level using the Ice Titan. He's really easy since you just use guard and occasionally hit his head, but nothing all that interesting. I suppose we can show him off for a little while today, but there's not much to say about him. He's really good for level grinding and thought it would be good to have us leveled up so the last section of the game would go more smoothly. We might have actually mentioned this before a while ago, but couldn't hurt to reiterate since it's important to know why it will be easier coming up.
Seems kind of unusual to be that high of a level when we're not done with the game, but it's not like any of us have had any major difficulties recently.
Yeah, we might as well, so the last section isn't too difficult for us. We'll be done with the fight now since there's nothing new to see.
All right, let's show off the Ice Titan.
Heal.
Okay, that's pretty much the whole fight. Let's move on.
Going over to Hollow Bastion, we're going to fight the unknown. He's more important to the story compared to the others.
Was that 11 just now?
He may look identical, but that is not him.
Who are you?
And Sim?
I still don't understand the creative decision to just have text come up with no audible words being said at the same time on occasion.
What's that supposed to mean?
This is just like that Star Wars movie. Is Sora going to get his hand cut off and thrown out a window too?
Yes, Joe, that is about to happen right now.
So we're just supposed to take all of this in like it makes any sense at all?
Not especially, no.
All right, if you two want to explain what his deal is, that would be helpful.
So this is Unknown, who is actually Xemnas, who is a character who is prominent in Kingdom Hearts 2. This game starts the tradition of secret bosses that have some connection to a game that has not happened yet. In this case, it's actually the nobody of Ansem who is here to test Sora. He knows that Sora is incomplete due to Roxas existing after his heart was removed earlier, which is developed in Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days.
Actually, I changed my mind. You don't have to tell me any more about him after all, since there's no way I'm going to remember all that.
And technically, with the whole secret boss thing, it's hinting towards games that have not come out yet, though not necessarily games that haven't taken place at this point in the timeline. For example, the lingering will in Kingdom Hearts 2 is setting up Kingdom Hearts' birth by sleeping away, even though it takes place much earlier. It's just a slight correction on the wording earlier.
Thank you, Ben. That was a very necessary correction that we all needed to know.
How are you fighting this guy exactly?
Not very well, honestly. I just save him for the end after leveling up on each of my playthroughs because I think he's the hardest fight in the game with all of his reflecting and different attacks. There's not a lot of good spots to hit him, so I just end up taking a lot of hits. The worst attack is where he messes with your commands, making it so you keep taking damage over time, and if you choose the wrong one, you get hurt even more with no real way to heal. The commands keep changing, so you can't just choose one since they go by so quickly. We're just skipping around a lot as there's not much strategy that I can really put into him.
Okay, he seems to look pretty cool, especially with those lightsabers and electricity.
He doesn't look all that defeated. More like he just thinks you did well, but he could have gone on for a lot longer.
That is right.
What are you talking about? Wait, what are you...
To Barak's point a moment ago, since Xemnas is from the future, it would not make sense to kill him now, as then the next games could not happen as normal.
That EXP necklace would have been a lot more helpful before getting to level 100, but it's good if you don't fight him right towards the end like I did.
And here is the last fight of the video, which should be familiar to Barak based on the games that he's played for the channel.
Not sure why I'd recognize this, but okay. Hold up, is that Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII? I hadn't really thought about the fact we haven't fought any real antagonists from those games, so this is quite the surprise for me.
I have to say, Sephiroth is looking kind of attractive. Not in a weird way, though.
This music means we're in for a bad time right about now.
So as Barak brought up, this is Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII. The only Final Fantasy antagonist to appear so far, and he's quite a challenge, even when leveled up. He has a lot of attacks, and it takes a while before the health bar even looks like it's going down. His sword is really long and thus can hit you from quite a distance away. There's a lot of fire-based attacks, and the more dangerous ones are in the last section of the fight. I don't think it's quite as difficult as the unknown character, but he's still pretty difficult.
With all the teleporting and jumping around, yeah, he seems pretty difficult. And how is it fair that he can just summon fire from the ground all around him? You can barely even dodge that in time before it hits you.
Part of it is I'm just tanking some of the hits since I have the health to do it, but if I were to wait for an opening more properly, it would look a little more reasonable that way.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I do really just need to focus on the magnificent One-Wing Angel background music for a moment, if you all don't mind. Sorry, were you all saying something about his fight? That song always is a pleasure to listen to and is one of the most iconic in the franchise, so I'm really happy it made it in here.
Yes, there is a little bit more going on here that I haven't mentioned yet. There's two more really important attacks to keep an eye out for. One of which is his Heartless Angel attack, which automatically takes your magic to 0 and health to 1. This can be worked around by using an item from a long distance from him or by attacking him at a short distance to interrupt the attack. The last is where he summons these rocks that go around the arena, and you just have to avoid them since there's no way to harm him while this happens that I'm aware of. Nothing else really important besides what I've already described and shown up to this point.
I would want to take him, but not in a fight, if you know what I mean. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to be like that. It's just his sword and hair and outfit and one wing for some reason, which I think would make it hard to fly now that I think about it.
Don't worry, Joe, progress isn't always linear, and I can see what you mean with the hair.
You two are so weird.
So is that it? The fights are over for today?
For the fights themselves, yes, but there is another scene before we'll actually be done today. We'll give our outro a minute since there's a little bit more to see still.
So you didn't actually beat him after all.
Apparently only Cloud can defeat him, so that's why he's back. I guess Phil decided to summon him again. First, we would like to thank the Boo from Shai Kong's World, along with the Barack from AI President's Playthrough's World.
We enjoyed the company for the first half of this video, even though we were thoroughly threatened and/or confused at the majority of our experience.
Now, I could have taken on Boo in a fight if he tried something. I think. I don't know if he can phase through things actually, so maybe not.
You definitely couldn't fight him, but we hope people were satisfied with him showing up in Ben's gameplay today with all the guys he got past.
We should be about done today after this Cloud and Sephiroth scene.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
And peace out, people.